Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the OpenText Live Partner Solutions Spotlight webinar series. My name is Gretchen Wurgis, and I'm the Senior Partner Training Manager for OpenText Global Partner Program. And the reason that the Gold Partner Program runs this version of our OT Live session is because we do these in conjunction with our Solutions Extensions partners, which are valuable OpenText partners that have products that we sell on our price book. And then we want to make those available to you and also make the experts available to you to explain how they work and how they can be valuable to you. So we're really excited today to be joined by that Solex partner, or by one of our Solex partners today, Fastman. And before I hand it over to the experts, I'll just let you know that if you do have any questions at any time during this session, you can put those into the Q&A panel. You'll see that icon on your top right-hand corner, and put your questions there, and we'll be able to answer them most likely at the end of the session. If you ever have any questions after we've concluded, if you have a suggestion for a product or topic you'd like to see covered in a future Partner Solutions Spotlight webinar, you can always reach out to us at partners@opentext.com. We'd love to hear from you, to hear what your thoughts on today's webinar, or again, your suggestions for future webinars. And okay, without further ado, I'd love to hand it over to our experts from Fastman, Brian Lapointe. Go ahead, Brian.
Thank you, Gretchen. Let me get set up here real quick. Hello, everybody. Maybe do this. Yes, and I assume, Gretchen, the screen looks fine on your end, and I'll get going here.
It does indeed.
Perfect. Thank you for that. Good day. Yes, everyone, and welcome to this OT Live webinar. We're pleased to be here. Brian Lapointe from Fastman, and I'm joined by Renita Day. Renita is an expert ECM consultant from the Fastman Professional Services team. We have a lot of capabilities there. We greatly appreciate the ongoing use of Fastman products in the OpenText ecosystem, and being able to deliver innovation to essentially to the extended ECM platform and community. So today I'm pleased to announce the release of Permissions Manager version 23.2.0. And the big news about that, it now includes the Access Manager Special Edition from Fastman. So that's some big news there too. So just wanted to put that out there. And Renita, would you like to just say hello real quick before we move on here?
Hello everyone. Good morning. Glad to be here.
Thanks, Renita. Okay. So as they say, without further ado, let's get started, right? Driving things here. So Fastman Permissions Manager has long been the leading solution to essentially simplify the administration of extended ECM. And it increases it increases your self-service on the platform, lets you do it yourself. Many of you our existing customers just rave about how easy it is to essentially see and make changes to the application security model without having to call a consultant or custom develop something in-house to meet their need. Furthermore, you reduce your help desk support burden and increase and what that does, it also overall increases the overall user experience, really just by having a good dashboard view to your application security and access model that you have in place. It's very important to easily see and understand your security setup to properly run these complex enterprise applications. Okay. So next up, let's take a closer look at several new features we've added to Permissions Manager in the 23.2.0 release. Okay. Now includes SE. I mentioned that. Here we go. Worth mentioning, Fastman aligns with the OpenText quarterly release cadence and naming convention, as you can see in our name. For example, this Permissions Manager release is named 23.2.0. It's the same version number as Extended ECM. Essentially, we'll certify and release within several weeks after OpenText. This ensures compatibility with the latest Extended ECM, whether you are running off cloud or in the OpenText cloud or using containers or so forth. So we're monitoring and certifying to that on a quarterly cadence right now. And then for those of you who are thinking of moving from an on-prem to cloud, Fastman is OpenText Cloud certified, and you can deploy it in a containerized environment. So we pretty much handle the full requirement there. This slide here, there's 2 new features that we've added to the product recently. I think it's pretty good from a self-service perspective, but I'll let Renita kind of comment on that real quickly. Renita, would you like to comment on what we've done here and some of this new innovation?
Sure. I'll go with the Jira ticket number, which is on the bottom, PM464 maximum hierarchy limit. So if most of our customers might have seen a hierarchy limit, which is applied when you do searches or replace users. And this is to block any user from doing a very big update to the system, right? So this limit was not there for the rollback functionality. And just to keep it up with the other product features, we have introduced that limit for rollbacks as well, so that if a user by mistake does a rollback and it's going to affect a lot of items and you have a hierarchy limit, it's going to stop you. So with this limit, basically, we are putting a cap on how many items a user can modify at a time. And if they do it, they'll see it in the screen as an error message, so they can stop, review, go back, and then start it again on a smaller set if required. I'll move to the one above it now because they are related. Now, having that block is good, but sometimes it stops everyone from doing it, even the relevant users, right? If you are an admin and you have to do the change and you know that you are going to perform it on a, after business hour or over a weekend, or just as an admin, you are sure that this is going to be needed and is required. We don't want you to be blocked because of the hierarchy limit. So what we have done here is given the admin an option to have a bypass group, which they can define in the admin pages. And what happens is any user of this group, either direct or indirect, when they do a bulk change, they will see the message that the hierarchy limit is reached. But when they do the change, they have 2 options, either to continue with it or to cancel it. So they can take that informed decision and they are not blocked in the system as well, right? So gives a lot of flexibility to your end users if you're enabling this feature for the whole group, but you still want to have that cap, but for all the other users, not for your power users. So yeah, works out great.
Yeah, and if I recall, Renita, this has been requested, especially for customers that don't have admin access to content server because they're in some cloud environment, whether it be OT cloud or some other, or a managed service, where the people who really need to make the changes are not the admin themselves. They have admin access, but they may be the business administrators or some other group. So this lets them safely, the people you want to declare safely, make the changes or make that decision, because they know more about sometimes they know more about the operation of the actual application and what they're trying to accomplish than the ultimate admin on the system, correct?
Right. So it's quite helpful, yeah, for business admins as well.
Takes the burden off the admin to have to deal with everything too, right? So
exactly.
Next up, what do we do here? We improved the pagination within Permissions Manager dashboard. And now it aligns, or it's similar to how Extended ECM changed it recently too, right?
Right.
Is that basically what would you like to add to that?
Yeah, so we had a separate pagination model that you could have defined from the admin pages. So pagination was always there. It's not that we introduced it in this release, right? It was already there. But OpenText also has a pagination setup, which is global to OpenText Content Server, right? So what we have done is we have fallback on that configuration instead of doing 2 different settings at admin pages, right? So it's just easier for admins to remember things when they're setting the pagination option. They don't have to do it in 2 places. Obviously, pagination is important for your browsing and overall experience in the system, because the less items that come off on the screen, the less permission it has to calculate. Obviously, it's an important feature. There was also a legacy feature in OpenText where we could have seen all content in one shot. But as we have progressed with the content server version, pagination is what is recommended. And we are also trying to move away from that. So this change kind of removes that unlimited items on the screen option for the end user. And we rely on the OpenText settings now.
Good, good, good. I mean, that's the beauty of permissions managers, to have the dashboard to see what's going on, right? And so in being able to navigate and then stay aligned with how, you know, the extended ECM platform is handling it too. That we're constantly updating and staying aligned like that. So that's sometimes these features look like they're minor things, but they really have a big effect on usability, right? Especially
Yep.
big, large repositories, because that's what we're finding these days. Is just very large systems that people have, because it's the final single point of truth for all your content. It's going to reside there for a long time, and you want to be able to make sure it is managed the way you expect it to be.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see here. What else we got going on here? Okay, would you like to just take this one, Renita?
Oh, yeah. So this is an interesting one. I think it came from a customer as well. So in Content Server, you can have feature items or hidden items along with the list items. And basically, hidden item means they are not displayed in the browsing pages that you go through, whether in Smart or in Classic UI, right? Now, even if the item is hidden, sometimes you do want to manage the permission of it, right? Because smart users can always go and find that document or a folder out and browse through it, right? So what this change does is it gives you an admin setting. Basically, everything is driven from our configurations, right? So you can see on the bottom of the screen, there's a nice setting up there where you can enable whether you want to show or hide the hidden items. If you say yes, when you launch Permission Manager, it will show you the document or the folder in the dashboard. So all the features of dashboard are still applicable to you. You can view, filter, everything works fine. Also, it shows you a nice indicator on the screen, which I think you have marked with that red arrow, which shows an eye icon, which means it's hidden in the system. So a lot of visual cues for the users to know, okay, there's a hidden item in here, this is the permission, and then the business admin or whoever has that permission is free to change permission on it or view the permission on it. So you are not blindsided.
Excellent. Yep. No,
Right.
it's great to see that the continuing innovation and investment on the permissions manager product. You know, there really is a large community of users out there enjoying the solution, and everyone, the existing customers, all welcome these improvements. And you know, like I said, we're rolling them out on a quarterly basis and continuing to align with the same OpenText release schedule, which is great. Okay, let's just move along. Let's see here. Let me build this out. Okay, next up, let's briefly transition and talk about how permissions and access coexist within Extended ECM platform. Some of you may have seen us using this diagram before in past presentations that we've done to describe this relationship. In Content Server, you have that rich permissions at the item level, okay, on all your documents, folders, and items, and so obviously items. And then you have controllable access to functions and object and usage privileges. This is that triangle of trust that we kind of call it, right? Essentially, the Fastman solutions are used to simplify the red circles that we have here, where Permissions Manager is used to control what a user, a group, or a role can do at the item level. In comparison or versus, Fastman Access Manager is working at the functional level, regardless of data and feature. Okay, so that's where the Access Manager, and I mentioned earlier on, we're now including Access Manager as Special Edition. So that's where these two kind of come together. And, And so as I mentioned, in addition to several core permissions manager improvements that we just talked about, and the overall certification against the OpenText quarterly extended ECM release, we're very pleased to include a significant product at no additional cost to existing permissions manager governance edition licensees that we have out there. So whether you're an existing customer of permissions manager, or you're looking to invest in permissions manager as a new customer, you now would get Access Manager Special Edition. The Access Manager Special Edition introduces essentially a new level of control over your extended ECM platform. Have you ever wanted to limit specific content server functionality based on a business scenario you may have? Access Manager SE provides a whitelist rule that lets you allow specific functionality for a content server group. Currently, we have customers using it in several interesting ways, such as they use it to reinforce read-only licensing requirements that they may have, or a policy for read-only. That's all they want people to do is see it. Or they'll lock down the system and then they'll restrict key functions by the group. The functions could be things like to add content, delete, print, copy, move, download, things like that. The function side of things, so they can lock down what functions they want to lock down. Fastman ourselves, we have a portal we use on content, our software download portal. We use Access Manager to enforce people to stay within the Smart UI and not navigate to Classic or away from the way we have it set up. So we're using it to enforce a policy or rule that we want. And another one that's popular that we've seen is people want to increase the privacy on the system. They want to restrict the need to view any of the metadata. They don't want people to necessarily see the categories or the attributes in the categories, or the records management classification, or the audit trail. So some of the the use cases we're encountering and finding out about this are very interesting. Like, everyone, there's so many features within extended ECM, and so they're not always needed for the business process. And so if you want to streamline that, this is a nice tool where you can create a policy to do that. Okay, Renita. So I think that set it up nicely. I don't know if you have anything else to add, but we're going to, I talked about a few of the scenarios, but we have a couple of demo scenarios that we like to show you on Access Manager SE right now. So when you're ready, Renita, I think you can just take control of the screen, and let's take a look at some live stuff.
Yep. Okay, so I've shared the screen. I hope that's visible. If you can confirm, Brian, then I'll get going.
Yes.
Okay, so I have a lot of profiles in here. I'll start with the special edition profile that comes with Permission Manager now. It's a whitelist profile. I'll open the profile, but I'll come to that in a few minutes, right? Maybe first we'll show what it does, and then we can go and show them how it is done, right? So I have a folder up here, and it can be any folder in the entire enterprise or in the entire content service system. Let me launch quickly Permission Manager. And what I want to show you first is I'm going to put a user who's a read-only user in the system. And as you can see here, unfortunately, they have got some access which is a little higher than read-only. You can see here that they have CC content till edit permission rights, right? So it's coming via a group. By mistake, it was added, or due to some other reason, we don't know. And you can see here that on this entire folder, it is like that. Now, let me log into the read-only folder. So I'm logged into the read-only structure up here. And I would just go here and open one of the folders up here, right? Now, as part of this profile, what I have done is one of the scenarios that you mentioned, that they should not be able to see some information in content server, which is containing metadata. For example, what type of classification it has, or what type of categories, or who did what on the systems, right? If I now click on the categories tab, which I should be able to see because I'm a read-only user, and as you saw in the previous screen of Permission Manager, I had the edit permission. So basically, I should be able to see the screen. But when I clicked on it, you saw that I was instead given this message up here, which says, hey, you are a read-only user. You are not allowed to perform this action. This is a custom message that I have put in. And then you can also see that there are some message which is coming from the system, which is good for you to know for which profile you got blocked. So right now I'm getting blocked by a profile called read only. I can do it for other things as well. So let me go to the journal page up here. That works fine because this information I'm okay to share with the external party or the read-only user. I do have a problem with audit. So what I've also done is I've blocked the audit page. If I want, I can also block the classification page, right? It can be extended to n number of functions which are allowed and then which are not allowed in the system. So right now, the 3 functions that I showed you, the category tab, the audit tab, and the classification tab, they are not allowed for the user. Rest everything is allowed for the user. So you can set up a profile in a way which suits your business requirement and your use case, and it works in Smart UI as well. So I have the same user logged in. I'll go to the same folder up here. As you can see, I have the document. And if you remember the layout of Smart UI, it also brings the classification on the main page. So you can see here that I'm getting the error message right when I click on the properties page. And if I go to any other page, like let's say the version, I'll be able to see that, right? So I'm blocking very specific functions. In this case, actually, I'm allowing functions, but the other ones just gets blocked. So let's see how it is done, right?
So Renita, I can see that being very useful in people that are deploying business workspaces with extended ECM integrations, when they just want to display certain information, through that extended ECM integration and not all that rich data necessarily based on the user profile, right? Yeah.
Right. So this actually came from a query from a customer. Basically, they had contractors also having access to the system. And those contractors, because they were given CNC rights, they were able to roam around in Content Server and see all the information, including the category. They won't be able to change it, but they were still able to see it. So you can see here that we can block such kind of access, right? And the way I have done it is quite easy, actually. So you can see here I've blocked a few functions like audit, classification, and then a few functions from the Smart UI as well. So what this basically does is, and if these functions are being called, they have been blocked, anything else, it will pass through, right? I've given it a nice name. You saw that in the profile error when we saw and opened it up. It's set up for a specific group, so you can add all the users, particular user based on your use case to a group, configure that group here, and then you'll be able to whitelist the functions. And then up here is a custom message. If you remember, there was a nice custom message on top saying that you are a read-only user, you are not allowed to perform this action. You can see that message here. So basically what happens is when the user logs in, tries to do a function, they get an intuitive message, right? They just don't get an error message saying, hey, this is not allowed. You can put a message which is relevant to them so that they know it is a system functionality and not something that is coming from the Content Server. It's not an error, it's a blocked function for you, works as required, right? I'll take a pause. If you have any questions, Brian, or you want to add something, we can discuss that.
No, I mean, I love the configuration, the error message, right? So, you're blocking things and you get, that custom error message, plus it gives you, the specific profile. So if someone needs to report, hey, I shouldn't have access, they can basically take a screenshot and report it real quickly, and then efficiently you can triage the situation, right? That's what the benefit is when someone sends you, hey, I get this error message, and you can go and say, oh, this profile's blocking you, and if it's correct, it's correct. If it's wrong, you can fix it.
Right. So you can see here that when I click on this, it gives you that profile ID and the profile name. So you know exactly which profile to look into. It corresponds to the profile name that you have provided in there. And it also gives you the function which got blocked, which is basically this one in the URL. So you know why it got blocked. You can give this a screenshot to your admin or your support team, and they can triage it based on this error message. And if something is wrong, you can always change the profile. There's no restart required. So that's another good thing about the solution. So whenever you configure a profile, you can kind of do changes on the fly, and you are not expected to do a restart. It will take effect immediately for all the users in that group, right? So that's a very big benefit when you are doing changes. Yeah. And you can do testing, you can fix things. Even in production, if you have a problem, you really don't need a downtime to fix a critical issue, right? So really helps the support team there, I would say.
I think, the difference too that I see with this is that sometimes people will do customizations and things of that sort to achieve similar outcomes. In a time, so to maintain those customizations over time become complex and complicated. It complicates the upgrade also when you upgrade, when you have these things in there. With some, if you're using a product like this, and you can, it's out of the box, you can configure, you can test, and it makes the upgrades go a lot easier too, I feel. That's just an observation.
Right, because we do quarterly releases, right? So we are compatible with the version of Content Server you are having, and we can guide you with that. So it works out for as a win-win, right?
Yeah.
Okay. The other thing I like to add is this is a system-wide setting. So you can do it, and when it's applied to the whole environment. It's not only just for the notes. You can, if you want to block personal, let's say my assignments or something like that, you could do that as well, and it will block access to this page. So it's not just node related actions. It can be any action that you have in your system. So it's pretty flexible for your use cases. I'd like to add one more thing is sometimes there are requirements which are not specific to the whole enterprise or the whole environment, but are sensitive to the metadata of the document or the metadata of the action where you're doing it, right? For example, you have a folder structure and it's under enterprise. You have people with add access because they are supposed to add documents in it, right? But that also gives them the feasibility to add folders in it, right? And it's a fixed structure. You don't want people to change the structure that you have created. So for that, I have a small demo up here. You can see I have a few folder structure created, and I'm right now in the read-only mode, but I'll go into the other profile. So I've blocked it for a different account. And as you can see here, this folder structure, I can add documents, no problem at all. I can select a document and add it, no issues. But if I try to add a folder structure, it gives me an error, right? So what I've done is a selective block in this use case. And that's not part of the special edition, it's part of the pro edition, but it comes in very, very handy in case you want to kind of like stop users from doing actions which are specific to a location based on a category or a classification. So let me very quickly show you the profile up here. What I'm doing is I'm stopping a few things actually, create, move, copy, and I'm only doing it for this location. So this is a little different from the whitelist screen. You have these extra rules up here. You have the rules for MIME type as well. And what I have used is an incoming subtype. So I've used a folder up here, and then I have a group. And the functions that I have blocked are all related to create, copy, both in Smart and in Classic UI, and move, right? And the custom message that we are getting here is you are not allowed to create, copy, or move folder in the structure. So when a user does that, I'm logged in as an Access Manager user. I do have access to create anything else, like maybe a compound document, works fine. You can see I can add it. But when I try to do a folder thing, it'll block me out. This is in Classic UI. If I want to do the same thing in Smart UI, you can see that I'll get blocked and it gives me the same message, right? So very useful in use cases which are driven by your metadata, right? Not part of the standard edition, but with Pro Edition, you do get all these functionalities and you can have as many as blacklist profiles as you need. So these are denying permissions. You can see here, I have quite a few workspaces here, which kind of like block functionalities. And then we do have a lot of functionalities that can be achieved via this. So you can see quite a few examples: audit block, personal workspace limit. You can combine it with web reports of OpenText and create your own custom solutions, etc. So yeah, it's a nice feature to have as well.
All right, fantastic. So I think that's it for the demo, correct? Anything else you want to add? Yeah. All right.
No, I think that's a good amount of information. It covers both our allow and deny list functionality. Yep.
Right. We'll get into this again here. So the special edition of Access Manager is included with Permissions Manager. That's the big news. And that, the way to look at that is you basically get the whitelist functionality that lets you set, like, globally on a group what they're allowed to do. Okay. We have an upgrade path, I'll talk about it, and then to Access Manager Pro, which basically lets you have a lot more flexibility on creating rules that deny specific things based on location and more granular type functionality. So there is an upgrade path on it. Okay. Are you sure you want to share? Share. Here we go. Let's try this again. So I switch back, Renita. I'm just showing my little PowerPoint slide, Access Manager SE demo. I assume you can see it.
Yep. Go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you. And we're almost done. We'll just wrap this up here. Take some questions. Please drop them into the chat if there's any questions. Oh, okay. And I just want to make this clear right here. Access Manager, we talked about, we showed off Access Manager Special Edition. It's now available for Permissions Manager Governance Edition to customers. All you need, if you're an existing customer on this webinar, all you need to do to request it from us is send an email to support@fastman.com, and then you'll be able to, we'll make it available for download and with the documentation, so you can test it out, put it in your test dev environment first as you like, and even give us set up a call and we can work with you on that too. But we'll make it available to your portal and help you with the installation as you like. The installation is very similar to Permissions Manager, so it's not that evasive. So you'll see that it just goes in as a standard OpenText module. And as I mentioned, and as Renita showed, and with that I think that folder creation rule that you came up with, Renita, or was, I think one of our customers was asking us about that. They have their set folders that they want people to work within, and so often they start creating, even more unmanaged, unstructured folder structures below what they were allowed to do, and it just becomes a big maintenance for them at some point. So being able to have a policy to stop that is powerful, and we're doing that essentially with our Access Manager Pro. That's the upgrade path here. it gets, as I mentioned, it gets more granular and it's flexible by giving you the ability to create multiple deny rules based on maybe the location in the repository on the folder tree. You can do it on a category, a classification, a MIME type, file type. We have customers using it to lock down specific folders by group while performing migrations, right? Or just for stronger security policy. So I just wanted to kind of put that out there that, that we see this as a very, complementary solution with Permissions Manager right now. For those also interested in a deeper dive into the Fastman Permissions Manager solution, we do offer a one-day training class covering all the functionality. This is ideal for subject matter experts, power users, administrators of the ECM platform, new customers, old customers with new employees, or groups that are planning to change the security model enjoy this class. Not only does it cover the specific Permissions Manager functionality that we have, but it reinforces the core extended ECM concepts for security, access, permissions, users, groups, collections, and more. It's very popular and has flexible scheduling. Many times we take the one-day class and break it into 2 virtual classes for you. Maybe run it, back to back or week 1, week 2 type thing. And this topic, in extended ECM is really in the Fastman wheelhouse. So you get an expert consultant that's taking you through the learning topics, but as you can see, it really comes into how you're using the system and how you should, best practices for setting it up and managing it and cleaning it up, quite frankly, as needed. So it's a low cost investment, but a high value that they get from it. So people are very pleased with the class. And just wrapping it up, we talked about Permissions Manager today. That's our flagship product, has been for many, many years. We introduced Access Manager Special Edition that's included with it. Talked about the upgrade path to Access Manager Pro, but look to Fastman for any of your extended ECM needs, whether it's updating the metadata or even to DocuSign connectivity to the integration to the system with our extended ECM for DocuSign connector. That's very popular. So that's who we are, Fastman. We're a gold partner, Solix partner, been in the ecosystem since 2006. Love OpenText, love Content Suite, love extended ECM. And with that, Gretchen, I think I'm essentially done at this point. Did we get any questions from the audience today that
Yes,
Renita and I can? Yeah.
Absolutely. All right. First question. Are the functions also blocked when using Enterprise Connect for those functions not redirecting to a browser window?
Renita, would you like to?
I'll take it. Yeah, it will be blocked. Yeah, because at the end of the day, it goes back to Content Server as a function. So you can just block the functions that you're looking for. So, yep. Great question.
Okay. Can you run Permissions Manager on folders within business workspaces or collections?
So it works very well in that scenario. Yeah, you can open it up on the folders, the dashboard, and then use Permissions Manager in a business workspace on those folders and make any changes that you want. And then potentially that's where the question's coming from. Sometimes people want to, they'll add them to a collection, those folders, for a whole bunch of business workspaces, thousands or millions sometimes, and they'll want to make wholesale changes on the collection itself. So yes, you can run Permissions Manager on a collection. And it's a great way. You can do a search, add it to a collection, and then run Permissions Manager on that collection to make that wholesale update to all the content. It's a very useful technique.
What does it take to install and configure Access Manager in Content Server?
Renita, I'll let you comment.
Yeah, right. So it's like any other add-on module that you take up and install in the system. That's the only time when you have to restart the system. So you may want to plan about it. Once it is there, creating the profiles is via the admin pages right now. you do any changes to the admin pages, the profiles, it takes care of it immediately. And it's not just the functions that you can change the metadata like the location, category, classification, filters, or the group if you want to, and it takes care of it immediately. So it's pretty easy to install and then configure the system. Yeah.
Okay. Does Access Manager come with Permissions Manager?
Yeah, I think we talked about that a little bit. So there's two versions. There's the special Access Manager Special Editions comes with Permissions Manager. So whether you're net new looking to use Permissions Manager, it will now come with the special edition version. Or the announcement really is any existing customers of Permissions Manager Governance Edition licensees can have access to it also at no additional cost.
Can you restrict access to content based on attributes, for example, deny, download, or print?
With Access Manager, you can set up the policies and the rules like a read-only. I want people just to have read-only access, or we have access. Renita showed in her demonstration that where those features, those functions, we can allow or deny them, the specific ones. I think the only caveat I heard in there, like if I want to the download, if you allow people to open up in Microsoft Word, you know what I mean, then they can do anything they want once it's out of Content Suite in Microsoft Word. But we have full control over all the functions, and whether you want to allow or deny them is the way I would best address that. Renita, would you?
No, I agree with you. The download and the print itself can be blocked from the content server side. So if you click on the download link or the print from either for a single document or multiple document, you can block it. But once it leaves content server, as you said correctly, in like you gave an option to open in Word, right? From there, we don't have the control. So there's a little bit of caveat over there, but yeah, we can see what works best for the customers as well. Maybe open it in a viewer or something like that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Can we have different rules for different sets of users for the same location?
You want me to take that?
Yeah, okay.
Go ahead.
My point, I think that kind of leads us into the Access Manager Pro upgrade product solution, where we can basically target locations and then have groups. So we can have multiple rules on the same location for different groups. So the answer is yes with the Access Manager Pro.
Okay,
Just a couple. We have more?
Yep, couple more. Do we need to restart the content server when you change profile configurations? And do the effects of the profile change? Oh, are the effects of the profile change immediate?
Renita?
Yes, it is. So if you do any change, it will be affected immediately, and it's any change that you do on the profile, location, category, or the functions or the groups, or if you create a new profile itself.
Yeah, that's just so. Myself creating demonstrations or scenarios for people, that's so useful, because you want to configure something and then see what it looks like for that other user. We do it in Microsoft Teams all the time. Having that instant feedback of what things are looking like and if it's working is what lets you quickly roll these solutions out. So yeah, it does do that.
Okay, and last question.
Sorry. Not only in content server. Yeah, not only in content server, but let's say that you have blocked a functionality to view audit, and you are coming from an external system like SAP or Salesforce or SuccessFactors, because the widget is embedded, the profile will get affected for the user, right? So they get the same error message that they'll get in content server, and they'll get the same message in any leading application that they came through, right? So that effect is immediate for any solution that comes with the embedded mode as well to content server.
Renita, I kind of feel like with people who are doing more extended ECM deployments of like the integrations to success factors, Salesforce, this is going to be very helpful for them, because a lot of times you're trying to roll out a solution to a business and then there's something that you got to do a customization for, and then just having this to be able to configure and test it quickly and have a safe upgrade path later, I think it's ideal for those scenarios.
Yep.
Any other questions, Gretchen, or
No, that's all the questions we have. So whatever you'd like to say to wrap up.
Yeah. So first of all, if anyone wants to have a private session demonstration, we always offer up evaluations of any of these solutions. So we're happy to do an evaluation with you. You can do it in your own environment, your own test and dev environment if you like. But as you can see, we have it configured in our own Fastman cloud test environment. So it's just as easy to do so. We welcome the opportunity to talk to you about how to improve your extended ECM and content suite environment. So just reach out to us and we'll take it from there. And Gretchen, thank you again. We've done these several times with you. It's these things run very smoothly. And again, thank you for hosting us today.
You bet. You bet. And just to let everybody know, we will be sending out a follow-up email with a link to the recording. And you'll also be able to reach out to us if you have any questions, concerns, suggestions, etc. All right. Thank you so much to Brian and Renita from Fastman. We loved having you today, and we will see everybody at our next webinar in the future. Hopefully take a look at our opentext.com/events webpage, and you'll be able to see all those webinars coming up, but there's also a historical tab there where the recording will be housed as well. All right. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for your time and attention. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.
Thank you.